Ben is in the future in time. Hi, Mir! Yay!
Hello, Wednesday. Are you ready for this Wednesday? You've had a couple of days to get ready, an entire week to prepare yourself to, like, hey man, that show's gonna come back on, and here we are. I'm trying to spell on the internet. You know the meanest thing that Google did to me? Google's done a lot of mean stuff over the years. But the most damaging, long-lasting thing that Google has done to harm me as an individual, it has eroded my ability to spell completely.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Laughably bad, my shorthand, because I immediately will adapt to the most efficient way of doing something. It's subconscious. It's built into my DNA. Efficiency is. And as soon as I learned that I could type these 3 letters or maybe these 4 letters for that word and Google will autocorrect it for me, that's how I write now in Google Docs. And when I try to type that outside of Google Docs, like, I don't even know what these gibberish words are. I'm like, come on, man. And I'm reliant on the enhanced spell check in Google Chrome to decode it back for me because it knows what it is, but I just have it set to automatically do it in Google Docs. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Hey everyone, getting ready for Weekly Daily Wednesdays. Let's see, we're going to be talking about Palm OS on a Raspberry Pi, Nano Tuxedos. PreSonus has done something absolutely crazy for my audio brothers and sisters. Stay tuned for that. I'll tell you why that's going to be a bigger thing and a gooder thing, a much weller thing for the Linux, just in general, even if you're not terribly concerned with audio production.
It's exciting.
And Jill's got an ASCII filter. Who's ever used the ASCII filter in VLC for like 10 seconds? You're like, oh, that's kind of neat, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've used it in MPlayer and VLC. Actually, a lot. I love watching ASCII videos. ASCII art with the A lib or even the CA lib.
See, Arthur,
but I prefer
Arthur's got
the
the correct answer to that. He's like, yeah, about 15 seconds. You're like, yeah, all right, done.
Aww.
That's what most people are like. That's neat. It's like playing, what was it, Doom with the ASCII render. You're like, yeah, it's fascinating. That's cool. And let's never do that again. No, it's definitely cool to look at.
Yeah, it is. I was trying to.
We didn't have a lot to do on Linux way back in the day, so like ASCII filters entertained us.
And I had fun doing it. You know, that was in the 90s in Terminal, and actually setting up like links to play a YouTube video through ASCII. So it's fun. I still have all my little scripts I wrote for that. Old school. Play it in the frame buffer.
Yeah, I remember doing some hacking around with MPlayer.
Yeah, MPlayer was
web
the
plugins.
One. Yeah.
Because we didn't have much of the way of streaming video online was pretty much real player.
Yeah, and it sucked.
Forever. And
I know.
Then we had Windows Media Player that had streaming, and we had some MPlayer plugins that you could use in a browser that would usually work for streaming video, occasionally, sometimes, and then we had Flash. Then Flash came along, and Flash was our streaming video player because that's what YouTube used.
Yeah.
And now we don't even think about it, which is a good thing. You know, also it's a horrible thing on a lot of sites that you go to, and the videos just start playing. You know what I'm talking about. And you scroll down, the video minimizes. You're trying to get rid of it. It's even worse on mobile, too. It's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
if I'm trying to
it's so
hit
tiny,
like
I can't touch the button that does it.
to close it, and it's already small, and I'm like, this is just cruel. Nobody asked for this video. It's not even related to anything. You're just doing it to juice your view counts so you can get more ads. Let me see. I gotta put out a Twitter post.
Okay.
What am I gonna write on Twitter? I don't know. We're live?
We live.
Yeah, that's to the point, isn't it? Let's see.
Yeah, Arthur, and did you play with the Kaka library, as I used to always call it, the CACA as well? The AA Lib was always far superior in terms of being able to actually look at what movie you're playing. But CACA, you had to put it in really ultra high resolution to see the detail. It was a little more problematic.
Let me see. Where exactly do I want to be on that? No, that's about where
I'm
I
not
want
sure. Yeah, I remember doing M player, and then in oh gosh, before VLC, I was using it in M player and Cinerama, Cinema. Hi, Biatco. I want to say Zinerama. I know.
Zine.
Yeah, it's supposedly pronounced Cine. It's supposed to be like cinema, but with an X.
Oh, yeah, no, I love stuff like that, and
I know.
especially when somebody, they get their hands on their hips and like, well, actually, and I'm like, well, they should have spelled it correctly, now shouldn't they?
I know. Well, I had at one of the scales many years ago, one of the developers spoke about it, and he kept saying Cine. I'm like, oh, you mean Zine? Now I know what they intended.
Some of those things but even like at the end of the day, I remember talking to Martin about mate or mate. People are like, oh
Yes.
no, it's mate. I'm like, man, what do you think? He's like, I don't care. And I was like, exactly. People will go out of their way to find something to argue about.
Yes.
It is in our nature. All right, I think I got pretty much everything together, Jill. If you need to go
Okay, I will be right back.
hop up for a minute. We shouldn't have any terrible surprises if you manage to hang out with us on Saturday, where we had all the terrible surprises. That was a war of attrition. We haven't had there's nothing like technology fails that you can't do anything about. That just makes you mad in a new, not even a new way. It's a whole different type of mad when something's broken out of your control and nothing can be done about it other than just wait it out or try to work around it. Yeah, the bandwidth situation was so bad. Like, jitter was horrible, upload bandwidth was basically non-existent. We did an audio-only version of the stream. We did LGC Linux Gamecast Radio. We just streamed it in Discord, and by the end, it was in such a bad state. Like, Jordan and Pedro were on the Discord call because we were using 64K audio. That's how much bandwidth we had. We did it, though. We got through it. We made a show. And the entire time, a bunch of people in live stream were like, oh my God, it's fire now. We were just kind of grinning the entire time. Like, we've been through so much worse than this. Because we have over the years. We absolutely have. We have the tools and know-how to work around problems like that. Typically when your upload bandwidth is like sub-megabit, you're probably not going to be able to do a live stream with 3 people. What you don't know, it's probably for the first 4-5 years of this show, our upload speed was capped at 2.4 megabits. So I got a little bit of experience squeezing that out. Internet's going to go down. Unfortunately, I can't throw anybody under the bus because we've all, no matter where you're at, where you live, you've had problems with your internet. I reliably have problems with my internet every 1.5 to 2 years. I have that one day. And it really upsets me for what I pay for this internet. What upsets me more about that is I don't have option B either. Well, 2.4 megabits 12 years ago. Yeah, it was quite ancient. Because we had VDSL too. Yeah, you know what? Like, the internet situation is kind of weird in North America. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's kind of a small price to pay to get to, live in the future. So, you gotta balance these things out, right? Well, this is one of the reasons I'm so big on satellite internet for everybody, like global coverage bandwidth from multiple providers. That is going to be game changing. Yeah. I mean, if you want to get like a 5 gigabit symmetrical, it's like almost $200 too. It's like $180 for 5 gig symmetrical. So it's kind of expensive. 2 gig isn't cheap either, man. It's like $110. But we don't have any cool options like 24 gigabit. Actually, I take that back. There's a place in Tennessee where you can get 24 gig. I was reading about that the other night. But that is like silly expensive. Me, I would be perfectly happy with 100 megabit symmetrical. Okay, I'd be happy with 100 megabit symmetrical from 3 different providers. But yeah, North America, and it's got the same issue as like the Space Australia too. It's just such a massive landmass. On one end, I completely get it. On the other hand, I look at it, I'm like, at least it's not Australia. Then we got to think about places like Japan and South Korea, where you have like those super dense populations where they've had gigabit internet for a decade. Just everywhere. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Arthurian, like failover when is something I want to set up. I wish I had better LTE or 5G reception out here, which I don't. If I did, I would already have the MikroTik, because the MikroTik's really easy to configure for failover. Or bonding, because you can, in fact, well, it's a MikroTik. You can turn all your ports into bonding ports. But then it's got to be, there's a bunch of extra stuff you got to do. But yeah, just have some basic failover stuff, or pull different services from different ISPs. Ugh. Talking about internet stuff, Jill, because internet stuff's fun.
I know. Aw. Hi, Steve husband. Hello, Joe. Now, I'm happy with my gigabit, but I pay more than the average person for gigabit, so here in the US. But it's worth it.
Joe's sitting around not doing anything on his week off. Joe deserves it, though. Joe's been out and about.
Yeah, he does. He's been, gosh, doing all that traveling, too. Oh, yeah, you have the T-Mobile wireless.
Yeah, I was like looking into the, I just wish I had better reception out here. Also, like a good mobile hotspot. In my perfect world, there would be a nice mobile hotspot with Ethernet where I could just buy. Now, this is something that genuinely sucks in the United States. Yep, getting like prepaid data sims.
Oh,
like, I get off the plane at Heathrow.
Yeah.
Landing in the UK, right at the airport. I'm like, how much data do I need? Do I want 10 gigs, 15 gigs, 30 gigs? I just buy the sim. Done. That's it. Never think about it. And it's cheap. It's cheap. It's like 35 pounds.
Here you got to go buy it, and then you got to sign
they
up
don't
to
exist.
the service. And yeah.
Like prepaid data sims, they're like, oh, do you want 3 gigs?
Yeah.
Or do you want 10 gigs? Yeah, but you can use 2 of it. Then we're going to throttle you down to LTE speeds. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I would like that imaginary world where I could just buy like have a 30 gig sim in a puck sitting somewhere ready to go at all times that never expired, but such are things. It's all right. At home relaxing. That's the way to do it. All right, everybody.
Yeah. Steve husband, I hope you're not working too hard and you can watch most of the show. Yeah, Tech Link, so true.
Well, the whole concept of like the ISPs and your data providers have spent a lot of money trying to convince people that like bandwidth is a resource, like there's buckets of bandwidth somewhere. And that ain't true. Like, all you're paying is to make an LED blink faster on somebody's router. That's what your bandwidth is. No more, no less. And they're not done. They're always they want to do metered bandwidth, which is ridiculous. But then you got your old your telcos and cable providers and stuff like that. They don't want to become a dumb pipe. They don't want to turn into just ISPs. They want you to buy, they're just all that extra cheddar they've been getting.
Yeah.
For the cable service and stuff like that. And people my age and younger are like, they have no interest in paying $100 a month for cable TV. I'm like, what? What do you do with that? Yeah. Like I said, I don't care who gets, I just want more satellite internet availability globally, because that is going to put pressure on all ISPs, no matter where you're at. And that's going to be a good thing. It's going to cause prices to come down. Yeah, I know people like that, Mir. I got friends with a crazy, I consider that crazy, because they have bundled deal. They're like, well, I have the phone, cable, and internet. And it's like $200-something. And I'm like, I could not extract, I don't even know, like, how much is a basic TV package these days?
I don't know anymore.
I have no clue. I'm assuming it's probably like $100. if I was going to guess.
Yeah,
I don't know how
I guess
far
so.
off I would be.
Yeah, what happens? It's probably $100, and then after the year is up, then it goes up to $150 or whatever. That's generally how it works. So true, DeChrisme. I, had cable for years and years and years, almost my whole life. And Steve and I just don't use it anymore. We watch YouTube and Twitch. And Netflix and, all the streaming services. But by the time you get done buying all those, you're just as much as having a cable bill, really. They have to make their money somehow.
Yeah, we had it good for a minute. There was a few minutes there we had it good as a society when Netflix basically had everything. When nobody else was sold on, we're going to do the streaming thing. Because even I was like, oh, that's silly. I don't see that taking on. And at the time, it was kind of a rough deal, too. We were talking like 480p streaming if you were lucky. So everybody had sold their back catalog to Netflix, and Netflix just had everything. And Netflix was cheap. It was like,
I know,
$15-20 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
And but like even now, what I get Netflix, I get Disney Plus, and I got my Amazon Prime Video just because I got Amazon Prime. What else do I have? I want to have HBO. I think that's it. That's it.
I had Hulu, and then we weren't watching it, so I canceled it, but I'm going to be getting it on Disney Plus now, because they own Hulu now.
Yeah, I'm going to be getting rid of...
So I was happy to hear that, actually. Nice. I'll pay an extra $1 or $2 to have it.
Oh, and I got a YouTube Premium for whatever that's worth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be getting rid of Disney because I kept Disney around because it was so cheap for so long. It's like $5 and they ratcheted the price up. And I'm like, I do not watch anything on, like, I got Disney for the Star Wars stuff. And the only good Star Wars show that I've really seen was the Ahsoka.
Yeah, you really like that. No, I watch lots of Disney, so for me, Disney Plus is
if you watch a bunch of Disney stuff, like, you're good to go.
Also Paramount Plus for Star Trek. So, yeah, that's another service. Oh, gosh. And then I had Crunchyroll for a while. I've had lots of different... I don't know. No longer on Crunchyroll now.
I got Crunchyroll for a month. I had to get a month because I wanted to watch the Nier anime. When the Nier anime came out, and I'm like, okay, let me get a month of Crunchyroll and I'll watch this. And then they put out like 3 episodes and like, we're taking 5 months off or something like that because reasons. And so I've never finished watching that out of protest. I'm like, I'm not getting another month of Crunchyroll. Yeah, it's good. Like, it's surprisingly good. I mean, it's kind of beat for beat if you played Nier Onomatopoeia.
Yeah,
but it's got some differences in it.
Automata.
They go a couple of different directions. I mean, nothing like wild and crazy, but yeah, like, it's good. I mean, it's well done. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I do too, Joe. We gotta watch Ashoka. Definitely.
Yeah, that's probably the right strat to do it. Watching it week to week's been a bit of a slog because the pacing isn't that great.
I like waiting till they all come out and just watch them. Watch them every night, which is nice.
And somebody broke it down to me, which is very true. Like, if you look at like plot points in the first 4 episodes, here's what happens: they get into a ship, then they get out of a ship, then they go back in the ship.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Anthony MO690, for the follow. Thank you for watching.
I mean, you just watch it for the right reasons. It's got Rosario Dawson in it. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And Zabberfang. Oh, that's a cool name. Thank you for your pledge of 250.
All right, everybody. You guys ready to rock and roll on this?
Yeah, sure are.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah. So Steve Husband and I watched Princess and the Frog. It was awesome. A Disney movie.
I think your sync's going to be, let me see, 10
Do I need to clap?
milliseconds off. No, I should be able to set it on. You don't have to do anything. I just got to
Okay.
change the async delay to 25 milliseconds because you know me, I'm going to
Yeah.
change the audio stuff each and every week. So when people go, Vin, how come you don't do the audio thing? Because I change it every week, man.
Yeah. Mo Anthony, Mo better. We had an old friend named Mo who worked at a popular computer store, and we used to call him Mo Better Tech. He loved that. You remember that, Steve Husband?
All right. Are we good? Are we good? Everything together? Jitsi server's working.
Yay!
Yay! Hopefully, everything will stay good, so it'll work on Saturday, so I can do the load test that I didn't get to do last Saturday. I'm not quite complaining about it. Yeah. Cool. All right, where's my record button? Page down, page down. I want to get that big stream deck, but I'm not paying $200 for that big stream deck.
Yeah, $200.
That's ridiculous, man.
It should be $100 for the big one and $50 for the small one.
Yeah. Like I got the, which one? I got the 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 button one, and I got it used on, I got Amazon Renewed, whatever it was, for like $80, which was like, that was a good deal. Yeah. $200, I ain't paying $200 for, you know what? I'd pay $200 if I hadn't cracked one open and I know what's on the inside of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, good on you, Elgato, because you got to fight against that when you talk about the Stream Deck. We're not talking about not Steam Decks, kids. Stream Decks.
Stream Deck.
You'd have a hard time playing games on it. But no. I mean, it's individual OLED button. I'm like, no, it's not, people. It's just one super cheap flat LCD panel under that. Like, there's almost like the bill of materials inside of a Stream Deck is nothing. Nothing. So good on Elgato. They got a nice, healthy profit margin on these things. Okay. Well, let's be honest. AMD GPUs are not known for power efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah, the 7900 XTX does take up more juice.
We were doing those.
I noticed a big difference, Joe, when I went from a 6900 XT to a 6950. There was a greater draw.
Kind of a couple of weeks ago when we were doing those Vulkan benchmarks in Discord. Everybody was joining in.
Yeah.
Here I am with my little 3060. Keeping up with the big boys, but like my power draw was like 140 watts.
Yeah, I know. It
wasn't like 280. Yeah. It's weird. Like I said, I don't know. I'm getting old. I care about stuff like power efficiency. I'm like, ooh, yeah. Back in the day, and I'm like, yeah, light it up, man. Dim the lights when this thing cuts on. Yeah.
Crossfire, all the things,
Yeah,
baby.
just like, it was just like, whatever. Let's, breaker hasn't tripped yet. Plug some more stuff in. Let's go. All right. Showtime. Let me click stop. And there we go. We are recording.
Yay.
There we go. All right, everybody. Here we go. Let's do it.
Yay.
Get my chair unsqueaked.
Oh, squeaky. Squeakies.
Right.
No, this chair doesn't squeak, which is nice. My last one did.
Well, it's not the chair that's squeaking. It's me up against the leather on the back. So I got to get away from it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week by Jill Bryant and everybody watching us live on Twitch. How's it going? We're here, middle of the week, plenty of time to get into some trouble and maybe apologize for the trouble that we've gotten in because there's been a couple of days since we've last reconvened. Yeah, so last week I was talking about the Jitsi server because that was our pilot thing with running Jitsi on a Raspberry Pi. We're back again this week. I was hoping to have some interesting data points to give everybody, but if you tuned in on Saturday, we just had an old school classic Linux Gamecast train wreck. That episode was sponsored by Charter Business Internet. By the time we got done with that show, I had less than a megabit of upload speed. And we were still doing a live stream, kids, because we've been doing this for a long time. And it was audio only by that point. Everybody was in a Discord call, but we got it done. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the data points that I wanted to share with everyone and finish up the video. But this upcoming Saturday. But I have been playing a lot with the Jitsi server, doing some configurations with the turn and stun setup to kind of punch through some NAT connections just for general availability because I want to have a comprehensive guide. I've absolutely bitten off more than I can chew on this. Have you ever had this happen? You just know how to do something, right? You've been working on something long enough or you just have enough background knowledge, background skills. So when you're like, okay, this project, and you get it done, you're like, that wasn't too bad. But you go back to write the steps down, you're like, oh my.
Oh my. Yeah.
This is really involved. There's a lot of stuff here that because it clicks, if you're coming at this from an outside perspective.
Yes.
That inherent knowledge that you just have. And when you start putting pen to paper, oh man, I don't think just, somebody's not going to pick this up and do it. And trying to come up with it's going to be very challenging to write from somebody's hey, I'm going to buy a Raspberry Pi and set up a Jitsi server.
Yeah. Yeah, because you gotta write down all those things that you just know automatically, but the audience doesn't. So
things that you don't even think about, what is an IP address? What's the difference between my public IP address, my router's IP address, the Jitsi Raspberry Pi's IP address, port forwarding, and static IP addresses, and there's all this stuff that's we'll see. I don't think I've bitten off more than I can chew, but it's taken me a couple of shots because I've done a couple of passes. The way I work stuff, I write out a script, then I'll do a test run of something, and it'll just completely fall apart. And we've done that twice so far this week. Gonna have to redo that. Gonna have to redo that just to see how it flows. It might be more of a balance of here's some actual proof because I've seen there's a couple of videos of people doing if you want to do, because people like hosting stuff at home, and if you want to do your own WebRTC thing, if it's for privacy or anything like that, you just want to run it yourself, you want higher quality audio and video. It's been done, a lot of these videos from 2020, and that's what first got me interested, but then it just was broken for the past couple of years until Jitsi fixed some things. None of them actually have people in a conference showing you what the load is. So you don't know. And that's the data points that I want to try to break it. That's where I come from. My background's enterprise. I'm we got to find out where it breaks and we're going to dial it back one notch from that.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Jill, you got excited. I posted a little video yesterday and I'm hey, this is kind of cool. Jill's oh.
Yeah. So Ven posted actually in our Discord chat yesterday, Devolver Digital released the trailer for the upcoming release of the Talos Principle 2 game on November 2nd. So this is it was very exciting. So when Ven posted it, I immediately went to the Steam webpage And it was available for pre-order, so I went ahead and pre-ordered it for me and my dear friend Sharon from the Linux Chicks. So the first time then I pre-ordered a game. But they did give me a deep discount because I had already purchased the first one, and I'd even done beta testing on the initial release before it officially came out.
Oh yeah, I remember doing
on
that.
Linux.
That was kind of fun way back in the day.
Yeah, you remember that? I can't believe this. The Talos Principle, the original, actually released in December 2014. I couldn't believe it was that long ago.
It's an ancient game.
Yeah.
I always confuse people. Like when we talk about like the original Talos Principle, if you look at like, because Jill, you put a lot of time in it. You really like the game, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I've put several hundred hours, in fact, into it on 2 different accounts.
And you look at I played it for a little bit, but you look at like how much time I have in the game. I got way more time in the game. Why? Because I don't use it as a game. Talos Principle is a well-known. Anytime if we're buddies on Steam and you see me in the Talos Principle, you know that is code for Vin got some new hardware that he's working with.
That's where we tested all the Vulkan hotness that Crow Team was putting out. So
Crow Team used to be crazy with it. They just love playing. You give them a challenge. You're like, Vulkan? Sure, let's go. Let's do it. And well, it's really good when you see something like that. I think we were all aware that they were working on Talos Principle, but you just kind of forget about it and you get the announcement. You're like, oh, and it's coming out in like 2 months. That's even better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they did an update to the original game, and they added Road to Guyana, which was actually more than an extension. It honestly could have been Talos Principle too, because it was a very long game in and of itself, and I was excited about that. But this is just I'm just so happy because. Honestly, Talos Principle is one of my favorite first-person puzzlers of all time. I rate it second, just behind Portal and Portal 2. So that's high praise indeed.
Good times. Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. So, how about, let's talk about something that I've always considered to be a little bit of a puzzle. That's small form factor and micro PCs.
Yeah, this is something that you could probably play the Talos Principle 2 on. So the German Linux hardware manufacturer Tuxedo Computers has released a new mini Linux computer out, and it's called the Tuxedo Nano Pro Gen 12. And don't be fooled by the name Gen 12 in the name. You know, initially when I saw it, I thought, you mean, does it have a 12th gen Intel Core processor in it, like a Core i5 or a Core i7? No, not that kind of Gen 12. It's just the name of the model, the Gen 12. But it actually comes with the competitor to Intel. It comes with either a Ryzen 5 7535U with 6 processor cores and 12 threads, or the Ryzen 7 7735U with 8 cores and 16 threads. So it's an AMD machine all the way. And along with, of course, it comes with onboard Radeon graphics and up to 64 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, up to 4 terabytes of NVMe, supports up to 4 monitors, and it has your choice of Ubuntu-based Tuxedo OS or Ubuntu, Kubuntu, or Ubuntu Budgie 22.04 LTS release. And if you need it, Windows 11 Home or Pro. Boo-hoo, boring. But you may need that. But I think it's really cool, Vin, that they have an option of Windows 11 as a virtual machine, which is really nice. They'll pre-install that for you. That's awesome. And I went ahead and configured a Tuxedo Nano Pro Gen 12 with full specs, which came out to almost $2,000 or 2,000 euros. But the base is 149 euros.
149 euros?
149. Oh my gosh, I read my writing wrong. No, 849 euros. Or over 900 US dollars. But if you need a high quality mini computer for digital signage as a media PC or as a work PC, this little box would have you covered with all their support. and their custom Linux OS. So it's a pretty sweet little computer.
Well, Tuxedo, I've picked on Tuxedo in the past because they've always had like a little bit of a premium on the stuff that they rebadge. You know, let's be clear, they didn't make this. And what are they doing? They're going to be offering you the support for it. It's going to come pre-installed with Linux, and it's going to say Tuxedo on it somewhere. Where does this one say Tuxedo on it? There it is. See? It says Tuxedo. Yeah. So what did you say, Jill? 849 euros, huh?
Yes, correct.
Because lo and behold, if that looks familiar, does that?
Yes, it does.
In fact, well, no, it's clearly different, Jill. It doesn't say Tuxedo on it.
Oh, okay.
Has to be a complete. No, this is the rebadge. This is the original unit. ASRock. This is their industrial systems, and same thing. 7735U, the bare bones ASRock system. This guy right here is going to set you back $500.
Yeah.
That's
big difference.
Stick with me here. I'm not throwing Tuxedo under the bus. I want you to stick with me because it's the same system from Tuxedo plus an 8 gig stick of memory RAM. It's going to set you back 994 euros. Plus, if you're in the States, in North America, an additional 99 euros for shipping. But it does come with a 2-year warranty, but so does the ASRock. If you're in North America, that's what I'm going to say. This is not a value at all.
Yeah.
So if you're in the US, but Tuxedo's like, of course not. We don't that's like System 76 talking to people like in Europe going, yeah, it's really expensive to get a System 76 system in Europe too. So that's where companies like Tuxedo come into play. Mm-hmm. So if you are looking for that support and you got somebody locally to deal with, because if you buy one of these directly from ASRock or a reseller, like what do you do when it breaks? Like you ship it back and hopefully they RMA something eventually, whatever. But you get something from Tuxedo, you got a place to send it back to. You got a place to call up and go, hey, we got a problem with this, and you can get a hold of somebody who's going to be able to help you out with it. So that's like that. What I say about System 76 when people complain about the prices, you're paying for the support.
Yeah, and you get the Linux support on top of it. So.
Well, that's what I'm talking about when I say support. Yeah. So that's what you're going to be getting. But if you're like me, and if I wanted something like that, I've always been attracted to the micro PCs. Also, thank you, Arthurian, for throwing this into our show notes. They've always been too expensive. And I'm like this, the Nooks, because, the Nooks came well before these. And, the entire time they've made Nooks, I'm like, where's the AMD option? They have the AMD option. Like, it's just as much. I'm like, not like this. So, but if you want something small, tiny, a thermal little high-powered note box, go get it.
From a really well-known Linux hardware manufacturer that a lot of people like.
I don't need a $500 to $800 computer, Jill, that I could lose.
Okay, yeah. Oh boy, I have probably over 100 little computers in my collection.
I do too, and they're all in big cases.
Yeah.
I take that, put it in a full tower. Then we're talking. Like even SBCs, it's hard to keep in track of them. I have my SBC box, single board computer. I got a Raspberry Pi box from a real nice box from Adafruit that I just did like a huge order from. Like all of that stuff is just piled up in there. That's where it lives. Mm-hmm. What do we got up next? All right, so I got to tell you guys about some audio stuff. PreSonus, been around for a while. You might know them. They make audio interfaces. If you watch the series that I do, interfacing Linux, I've not just done one, but do a FireWire PreSonus audio interface. And more recently, Kai Linux, bought the Studio One, not Studio, what was it called? Who remembers what it was called? Can you beat me?
I'm forgetting the model number.
This guy, the IO Station 24C.
IO Station. Okay.
PreSonus IO Station. So they make a bunch of hardware, but they've also had their own software stack digital audio workstation called Studio One. It's been around for a long time. It has something like since 2009. And the latest version is out 6.5. And there's a public beta. Why are we interested in this? Well, it does a bunch of cool stuff, you know. This one, updated plugins, and look at it. It looks like Skittles and RGB horror. I love it. Dolby Atmos is built into this.
Yeah.
Binaural headphone stuff. All the plugins have been updated. You know, just cool. Oh, and they have their own open source DAW project file format thing, which has always thought that was kind of cool. And tablature, just everything that you would expect to see in a reasonably modern DAW. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. Not really terribly interested. Oh my God, they released the Linux version. They did.
Yay.
Everybody. This is, if you follow audio under Linux, media production under Linux, jaw hit the floor type moment. Because 6.5 is a public beta for Linux. Weird. Now, basically, this one right now is AMD only at the moment. It is AMD or Intel integrated. I don't know about Intel Arc right now because I haven't gotten one yet. It does require a system that is configured for jack. They even have a section, because this is like one of the downsides. I'll tell you about this in a minute. It's a Debian package. You got to use Ubuntu 2304. I reversed what packages you need on Debian 12, but then again, I can't get it to run because you also need Wayland. This thing is hard-coded for Wayland, which is kind of interesting, and it has to be a Vulkan 1.1 compatible graphics card. Also very bold move cotton type thing, and this really narrows things down because when we talk about digital audio workstations under Linux, we got our open source option, we got Adore. Closed source, we got Bitvig. I use Reaper. We have Harrison Mixbox, but that's just Adore with a skeuomorphic body kit on it. Traction Waveform is another one. The only things we're really missing, like commercial Linux DAWs, is Ableton and Pro Tools. And this. This is something I always see come up in conversation, like, why need Studio One to work under Linux? And yeah, you could get it to work with Wine. This is kind of interesting because they're up to something over at PreSonus, and that's always a good thing. And it could be really big for Linux, the knock-on effects for this, because PreSonus makes a lot of hardware, like big commercial hardware, arena-type hardware, integrated solutions, and they really like tying that hardware into their software, into the DAW. That's one thing Studio One's always been good, that super tight compatibility. It's like Avid and Pro Tools, like where everything's just tied together. All the buttons are mapped and you don't have to worry about it. So doing that to tie Studio One into their hardware under Linux is going to require Linux drivers for their hardware, official Linux drivers that they're going to support. But they haven't announced. This is just me connecting the red yarn on the back of my wall here. And that could possibly make PreSonus like the first vendor with official Linux support for audio interfaces under Linux. Now, one of the things I want to point out is if we look at what doesn't work right now, it's very clear about this. Certain features do not work under Linux. One of them, okay, they say, the wording I like here, certain features are currently unavailable on Linux. Thunderbolt support for PreSonus hardware. Thunder Noodles. None of those devices work under Linux. It doesn't matter if it's PreSonus, if it's Motu, whoever, because you need drivers, because, it's Thunderbolt, you basically turn it into a PCI Express card, like my RME AIO Pro, which requires kernel level drivers. You can't, there's no, just generic mode for that. So they say currently unavailable. Maybe that's something that they're working on. That makes me very excited about that. Things that don't work, that might throw you off though. No third-party plugin GUIs. So if you use audio plugins, you're accustomed to GUIs, You open up your EQ, you get EQ curves or whatever you're going to be doing, EQR compressors, whatever. All of your plugins, I don't know what the interface is going to look like, because I know in Reaper, if I don't want to use the GUI, I can hit the UI button and it'll just give me the number digits with just some very generic sliders on it. Maybe that's how I've never used Studio One. Maybe that's how they're going to handle it. I'll know more tomorrow. Tomorrow's project is to get this installed because, again, it requires Wayland.
Yes.
And it doesn't work with NVIDIA. Oh, man. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is on Jill's box over here. It has a spare NVMe hole in it, and I got a spare NVMe drive. So I'm going to put that particular version of Ubuntu on there. Oh, and it does require jack. They point that out. They didn't get a super fine point on it. They didn't say jack pipe wire compatibility. They said jack.
Yeah, so pure jack.
One thing I know how to configure is jack. I'll give this thing the best chance. Get it set up, get some footage. We're going to find out what it can and cannot do, and I want to get this out as quick as possible. I was talking to Jill about this in the pre-show. Go back if you want the full story if you're a patron and listen to that later on. I want to get ahead of any of the tech tubers that don't even know what a Linux is and tried to install Linux on the weekend, and they're like, I can't even get it, Linus Tech Tips. Imagine Linus trying to install a hot DAW, and he's trying to save something. He's trying to save the deb file as an HTML or whatever, and he's double-clicking it. Show people how to get it set up, and then we'll find out what it can and cannot do. I'm going to try to rush that out, maybe get it out Friday for everyone, just to have that accurate information out there before the eventual person who's never used Linux before showing off Linux, and it's going to be somebody, with like 500,000, 1 million followers, and I want that counterpoint out there before that one gets done. Another thing, it doesn't use, it's not compatible with LV2 plugins, which is kind of big. Yet, again, they say currently unavailable, so not having that GUI, because I have a bunch of other plugins, like all the native plugins I assume are going to work. I'm just guessing at this point. But, I have a mixture of open source and commercial plugins on Linux that I need to work, but most of those are VST2 and VST3, so it's not going to be too big of a deal. Melodyne integration, a couple other things, and they say that their PreSonus hardware integration, preamp control, and stuff, all those things don't currently work yet. So, optimistic, a little bit excited about this. I don't know, like the conspiracy thing. I was talking to Jill about this earlier. Maybe they're working on a system. Like they're going to be rolling out, like, here's an appliance type thing that you can get and it runs Linux and you can do all this. Okay. Or then again, maybe they were working on an appliance type system, a large room, we're talking about something like 100 plus faders and to do live shows, and they decided not to go through with it, but they did all the work getting everything moved to Linux, because, if you're going to be doing a appliance, you're going to use Linux because you want that extra money for that Windows license, right?
Yeah.
And Wayland's an interesting choice. I fear it's going to be kind of limited, but, if you just ask me point blank, is it premature to lock something to Wayland? Yes. However, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
this will be the first DAW that works on Wayland on Linux.
What's going to be the first DAW that is going to be written for Wayland? Because all DAWs work on Wayland because you can use backwards compatibility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, X Wayland. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't even read that. I just glossed over it because I downloaded it, started to install it, and I was working back on what the Debian file needed for dependencies and translating that to actual Debian from an Ubuntu speak. I'm like, why isn't this launching? I'm like, oh no. Why is it? Oh, it's looking for Wayland. Oh no. So that's going to be a fun project for the weekend. Excited about it. Exciting times. Knock-on effect, though. We get somebody like PreSonus. PreSonus is a big player in the game to actually have official Linux support for their hardware, even if you don't care about the DAW. That's going to be a data point to whatever audio manufacturer, be it Focusrite, Motu, whoever, and go, well, they have Linux support. Mm-hmm. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Name and shame, right?
All it takes is it's the first step. The first company that does it, then the rest follow.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It's so cool. I think it's awesome to, not only see another DAW on Linux, but one of the big players. I was really surprised when Ven puts this in the show notes, because I'm like, oh my gosh, Presonus Studio One. I've known a lot of people who use that. so, so that's really cool. And I think it's neat that they're looking towards the future with Wayland support. There's some Linux users there who understand how the industry in Linux is changing, moving from X to Wayland. So that's definitely.
I got to weigh a lot of that though with Studio One. How do I put this? I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but this is the truth. If you're doing a production application, see, this is where I have questions. If anybody from Presonus, like if you're just one person that scored a major victory at Presonus and you finally got them to let you roll out your Linux things, I'd love to talk to you. Call me up. I'm easy to get hold to. I've got a million questions for you and we can make a little video out of it. And it'll be a positive spin. But that's one of the questions, because would I run a production system on Wayland? Would I run a production system on Pipewire? The answer to that is no. No. Would I run a desktop
not
thing?
Right now.
If I was playing around, just working on. When I say production, would I use it live in production and count on it?
Yeah.
I know nothing's going to go wrong here. But for desktop stuff, yeah. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But again, this is super early days. And again, I really think it's fascinating that they're making that hard count. It's this has got to be Wayland, because welcome to the bold, brave new world, kids. You're going to see more and more of this.
Yeah.
Now, being Wayland only completely just, even with KDE, if you got an NVIDIA card, if you're the 83% of discrete GPU owner market, I mean, we're not counting laptops here. You're just SOL. So, but, even being a Team Green loving, I have a NVIDIA card and I have I have a Threadripper and two 5600Gs on my left and right. That's okay. You probably get an AMD system or a newer Intel system laying around. I'm going to try it on one of these 5600Gs tomorrow, and we're going to report back. Good on you, Presonus. Cool. Stick with it. And don't pay any attention, because the toxic part of the Linux community is going to come out. The not good enough, the ones that are going, well, it's not open source and it costs money.
Oh, and the ones that didn't notice that it says beta.
Those are Windows users.
Yeah.
Don't pay
beta
attention
software
to the people that are going to try to blow you up about it being commercial software, because they weren't going to buy your product anyway. They weren't. That's one of the things that blows my mind with Audor, because Audor is commercial software, but it's open source, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
At least every once a month, let's just be 100% on that, but every other week, it seems like there are people, because they're smart about it. And they're like, if you want support with it, you got to buy a copy from us that we've compiled ourselves. And that's going to be $40, And if you come in asking for support for the version that you compiled that came with your distro, Paul's like, we can't support that. We didn't build it. Oh, people get mad. People get how dare you charge money for, those people just need to go away. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what I'm saying, don't listen to that crowd. All right. They just want free stuff. Good on you, Presonus. I look forward to playing around with it. And you know what? I'll probably use some Presonus hardware. Because one of the cool things we can do is, even that Firewire interface, I can crack that thing up, but I'll probably use that new dog controller. Get some use out of that. See if that works with your beta software, because I didn't see any mention about control surfaces on there. We'll find out. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
All right, you insufferable hipster. Tell me about your ASCII.
So this is really cool. There's something fun you can do with the AA library, ASCII art library. There is a new easy-to-use Flatpak application that I've been using that lets you convert pictures into ASCII art. And those exist, of course, on the terminal, and there's some other apps that do this. But this is by far the quickest and easiest one to do that with. And it is actually this app is called Letterpress. And you can save your ASCII art to a TXT file, copy it, and even adjust the resolution with the handy width and characters toggle, or with the point size plus or minus toggle located in the main menu. And it's just so easy. I imported a picture of the classic text penguin to demonstrate it, and I made a high resolution ASCII art, which Finn is showing right now, of Tux the penguin, and it's really well done. It's kind of nice that usually I go in the terminal to do this, and then you have to futz around with your different width and characters and whatnot in the terminal. But it's nice to just have a quick and easy GUI to do this with, and it's a flat pack. You can go over to FlatHub and get it right now. I just downloaded it from the Pop! OS shop, and because Pop! OS shop supports Flatpaks right there, it was very easy. And what's really cool about this is actually the same developer of the app called Calligraphy that lets you convert text to ASCII art. We actually talked about here on LWDW number 378 last June. So, and that was brilliant. But one of the awesome things about this is the developer, whose name is Gregorny on GitLab, is a young teenage developer from Germany. And way to go. I'm very impressed by these apps. They're awesome. I wanted to give him a shout out for sure.
Everything's great. I mean, minus the Flatpak.
Well, it does, every distro you can install Flatpak on. You just got to either install Flatpak or it comes pre-installed. So
one of the first things most people are going to uninstall, like snaps.
Yeah, no, Flatpaks. Yeah. I like better.
I don't use either of them because containerization on the desktop is a fool's errand. It's not good for the end user. You'll never convince me different because I can prove to you why it's worse.
Well, this kind of app is, it's not crucial to the system.
Oh, it's not, but it requires having Flatpak installed. See,
yeah.
I have equal hate for Snap and Flatpak.
I know.
Make an app
and
image.
App images.
No, I have no problem with app images because I don't have to install a potential security hole in order to install an app image.
Yeah, Flatpak is pretty... They did a pretty good job with the security.
We can show you the CVUs for Snap and Flatpak. They both had them.
They have issues, yes.
It's like they have. It's another vector. Like again, there's nothing to convince me with. You can say I'm old and curmudgeon, but
no, it's okay, Ben. I know a lot of people who just use Flatpaks.
Yeah, I do too.
That's it.
New Linux users that don't know better, and here I am trying to help them out.
Yeah. No, I prefer. I would have preferred if this was a deb as well, but it's okay.
And I'm not upset. People use what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, I'm just a little disappointed because I saw that and I'm like, well, I'm not going to use that. Why? Because I practice what I preach.
So that's why I'm the only one who brings the Flatpak apps to the show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great because to me, that application doesn't exist. And I would say the same thing if it was a Snap.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to install it. Why not? Would you install an entire packaging system to try one thing out? The answer to that's no, if you're being honest.
Oh, well, a lot of distros it already comes pre-installed, so it's not a big deal. You could just use the distro. It is a
big deal, Jill, because you have to uninstall it after you install a distro. I wouldn't use why would you install a third-party packaging store when you already have Deb and you have your apps? You have the AUR on Arch.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, I don't, here on my main podcasting rig, I don't have Flatpaks or Snaps installed, but I do on my other rigs that I do testing for show notes.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to go down on this hill when it comes to containerized desktop applications because they're not friendly towards the end user. They cause more problems than they solve. And I say that from people trying to get me to help them figure out how to use OBS. And speaking of things like DAWs, okay, we got DAWs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, think about this. You get all your audio plugins. How do you use all of your audio plugins that aren't inside the containerized application?
Yeah, that's difficult. Like OBS is the same thing.
Yeah, it is something like that. Maybe for things like this, whatever.
Yeah.
Use what you want, don't pay any attention. Let's talk about the latest and greatest things. I was trying to figure out whether or not I had a Palm Pilot back in the day. And I don't think I did. I think I had the option to get one for work at one point, and I laughed heartily.
Okay.
And just kept on with it because I don't even like carrying around a mobile phone. Like, I am not that person. And like back in the day, I just keep everything up here. And I still try to do that these days. I just forget stuff. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. And there was Palm it stayed around for a while. And even, we had the PDAs. The PDAs started with Palm OS. You could write stuff in that lead speak thing on. It would sometimes work with handwriting detection. And, later on, they became like a lot of them were like Windows CE devices, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Wince. But Pocket PCs are a curiosity. A lot of people have made videos about them on YouTube. Reason we want to talk about them is somebody's managed to get Palm OS up and running on a Raspberry 2040. So cool.
And a Raspberry 2040 is barely a computer. I mean, it's a glorified like Arduino, if you really think about it. Yeah. But Dimitri is the gentleman's name. He wanted to test Repalm, which is Palm OS, on actual hardware. It's like, it turns out that it ran an emulator well enough. They're like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and make a custom kernel and get this thing up and running on the Cortex-M processor instead of this 2040. And here we are. Like, that looks, I honestly, I completely forgot that there were color versions of Palm OS. That's more what I'm thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
We got a nice little video here of this thing starting up. For audio listeners, this is just, the LCD with some wires hanging out of it, not TSA approved at all. And you had to have the stylus to interact with the screen. Look at that. Handwriting.
That's nice.
Go home. Oh, wow. I don't miss these dark times at all. Yeah.
Aww.
Let it be gone. Burn it.
I liked Palm. Especially later when they made WebOS, because a lot of the technology was put into WebOS. So for me, this is part of my nerd rage. I love this kind of stuff. And I was telling Van, I think, four different Palm devices, Palm OS devices, like the Pocket. I have a Palm Pocket, an HP version, and a couple others. I didn't initially when they came out. My brother had used them at work, and I got a couple of his hand-me-downs later on. But I always, it was ahead of its time, with the being able to write on it and converting and translating the text.
We were easily amused by it. Yeah, you had to like plug it in to a serial port on the back of your computer to sync it.
That was, a trick. Some people had issues trying to
Not
do
USB.
that.
Why? Because USB didn't exist.
Yeah. And it does work on Linux when you do that on Linux. There's drivers for it.
No internet access. And like there were personal digital assistants. And
yeah.
I mean, it's fascinating that somebody was able to get this up and running. I'm sure there will be and software. Dude, I'm sure. Maybe you know somebody that carries around a Palm today. They're like, yeah, man. So, you know what? It'd be very secure data organization, though, right? You don't have to worry about anybody snooping on your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. A good way to take secure notes, or or have a private calendar that's not in the cloud. There's a good use for it.
I have one of those on my wall, Jill.
Yeah. Yes. A physical calendar. I do too, in my kitchen.
It's like 6 years out of date, but
yeah.
Hey.
But this is awesome. It's a Raspberry Pi Pico for the win. I think it's really cool that this just worked on the Raspberry Pi Pico.
It's something to do with the 2040, I mean, I respect this because sometimes I'll walk into my little tech storage room and like, what do I want to do with some of this? And, this is along the same lines of like looking at a thing. I'm like, I need to come up with a good use for you. I'm like, you know what? Let's just get Palm OS up and running on this thing. That's fantastic. It's good to see. Not necessarily practical, but hey, if you want that blast from the past and you want like actual hardware, I'm sure somebody will cobble it together.
Yes.
All right, Jill. we're running a little bit long. So
Yes.
we're going to run out of here. Everybody, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So much fun.
And we're just going to take a minute to thank all of our beautiful party patrons, people making this show possible. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Here they come.
Here they come.
On the credits button.
Zabber Fang, once again, thank you for your pledge of $2.50 and per week. And thank you to Anthony MO690 for the follow. Thank you to our advisors like Artherin, who contributes to the show by giving us news stories. We love you. And to our Chicago Kicks people, our Sea Monsters. And by the way, these are all the different levels that are on Patreon that you can donate to Linux Gamecast and LWDW on. And all our wonderful chairlings. Oh my gosh, LWW 394. I can't believe it.
I can because I'm good at counting.
Yes.
All right, beautiful people. We'll see you next week.
Bye, all. Love you all.
Yeah.
Yay. Aw, cool Joe.
All right.
Yeah.
The palm section. I'm sure you had a palm, didn't you, Joe?
Oh. Yes, he probably did. I remember when they came out, and I was one of the few people who didn't, because I just, I had other ways of keeping my calendar, and I didn't have to use it for work.
I had to carry around, oh man, I had a Windows CE phone.
Wint.
The
color version. Yeah, Joe.
I was, like the last time I played with one, I was taking Colonel Tim to the airport to get his flight, and he had bought one, and I'm like, this thing doesn't work, man. It won't recognize my handwriting. And he's like, flip it over on the back. On the back, it had all the moon glyphs for each letter.
Oh, okay.
You had to learn the palm alphabet, and I laughed and handed it back to him. I'm like, have fun with that. Have fun with that. Like, I don't want to learn a new language in order to write something digitally.
That's when you were probably working at Sunben? Or
oh, no, that was like when we were teenagers, man.
Oh, okay, before. Yeah, okay.
That was that was in the 90s. That was definitely the 90s, probably like 98.
Yeah, that's about it, about the time. Just trying to think.
You would practice? Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, Joe. You got good at it. You probably got fast at it. So yeah, the reason I was asking you, Ven, is because my brother worked at Sun, and they were using those for a long time, even way after they were popular for his work and business meetings.
They had a fan club. Like they really resonated with it. But again, with me and the whole thing of like throughout, even like through university and graduate school, I never carried a notebook. I never took notes. I was that person.
Yeah, they didn't.
Never had
no
a
one
need
did
to write.
when I was in college.
So taking notes for class, lecture halls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Never did. Just back and just absorbed it. So having a digital version of something that I didn't need the analog version of never appealed to me.
Didn't occur to you.
Right. Like the idea of needing a I'm not downplaying because I understand it's like a weird one. This is not like a weird humble brag. This is just reality. Like a calendar or a personal organizer. I've never had a need for that. Which I realize, like, as I'm getting older, I will begin to have a need for that as this starts going more and more, you know? And I joke about it. Like the idea of having to write down a grocery list. Never done that. Not in my life. When I go grocery shopping, there's no list or anything. When I'm at the grocery, I'm just like, okay, Yeah, I do that. I just close my eyes in the middle of the aisle and do. No, I don't. I just go through the list of what I have and have not, and pick out the stuff. But I've gotten to the point where I will occasionally miss something like
important. Yeah.
Well, now if I get to get paper towels, which I did this week, and I'm like, dang it.
Me and Steve write our grocery list in Discord to each other. So we're doing it electronically now too. But that was it's because of Linux Gamecast, and he learned Discord, or else he wouldn't be. He was still doing it, longhand. So
yeah, everybody's got their system, like whatever works for you. And even with like the whole like containerization on the desktop, like if it works for you, use it. Don't listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. We got all that together. Yeah, that's gonna. Tomorrow's gonna be interesting.
You're gonna be busy.
If everything goes smooth, it won't be too bad. I don't like trying to rush stuff out, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Not because I'm particularly slothful or lazy or anything. I just always make sure I got everything right. I know crazy accuracy and tech information in 2023. It's a foreign concept, but I'm going to be getting PreSonus Studio One installed on one of these computers in the studio. And doing a video, doing a tour of it, and finding out what does and does not work. Giving it a fair chance of pointing out what does and does not work, so we don't end up with the Linus trying to game on Linux video, right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't get fonts installed.
Oh.
One of the easiest things to do in Linux is install a font. Like that. I told Jordan, I told Pedro, we were talking. I was like, I'm not a vocal person. I'm very reserved, and I'm not somebody who shouts at inanimate objects. That's not me. But when I was watching that video and they were going on, I was like, the fonts, I couldn't get. It's like I had some expletives scream directly at whatever I think I was watching on a tablet in the kitchen or something like that when I was cooking. Like, are you stupid? Like, how? What is your problem here?
And the truth is, it's not that much different than Windows to install the font.
I have no idea how you do it under Windows, but I guarantee you everybody listening to this show right now could figure it out.
Yeah, that was so funny, huh, Dick Kresny? Yeah.
Like, I would bet everything in this studio that in under, you know what, let's make it challenging. I'd bet everything in this studio that I could figure out how to install fonts under Windows in less than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
If you give me a font, a TTF, ODF, on the desktop, I could have it installed in less than a minute. And I think any normal person under Linux, if I drop the TTF font onto the desktop and here get that installed, what are they going to do? They're going to double click on it. What's that going to do? It's going to open up font, whatever application you have. What's going to be right there on that? An install button.
Installer. Yeah.
Blows my mind. Blows my mind, people, that even happened. And, I spend a lot of time with fonts. Which I need to organize my font collection. I have a font collection now.
Yeah, me too.
I use them for videos, for different styles and stuff like that. If I'm doing a Doom video, it's going to have the Doom font in it, right? But, yeah. See, let me see if I can find one that's not installed. I got one that's not installed. What about Supernatural Night? Oh, they're all installed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that one's not. No, they are all installed. Here's what I'm trying to point out, people. I'm going to put a screenshot in Discord. So if you're in our Discord, you can... You know what? I'm going to put on an imager so I can show everybody. How about... let me host that on...
Yeah, you do, Steve Husband. You have the real font pack.
Okay. This is what happens when you double-click on a font, kids. Now, you see where it says installed? If it's not installed, it says something completely different. It says install. That's how you install Fun Central Linux, and you're done. That's it. No more to
it. They are packed flat, too, yeah. Oh, boy.
You can't read that? Good, I'll write with it more. I'll use it in more videos. Beastwick, I saw you type something in Discord earlier, maybe like 2 hours ago. It looked like it was resembling a statement / question, but I couldn't decode it. It was something about Twitch. Oh, man. Let's reset. Oh, look at Steve over here with his dry transfer fonts.
Yeah, that's how I used to do graphics. It's like... That's a thing for years and years and years. My first art projects, that's the way I had to do it. Not fun. I hated it too.
Fortunately, these days, the only type of like manual font placement we got to worry about is like peel and stick on mailboxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, when did I wonder if they still make those. Letraset's been around a long time, like since the 50s. When streaming, can you set 2 audio tracks? You know, I know you can do this when recording, but I have it. I want this so I can hear it. Oh, that's okay. Okay, there we go. There's a missing piece. You want to be able to adjust individually the game and the vocal tracks on your end. Could that be done? 100%.
OBS for the win.
There's even, but for you watching it at home, that option doesn't exist on Twitch. Could they do it? Yeah. Like even like when we stream to Twitch, I even have an option to send a vocal track to Twitch, which is just isolated vocals, and audio track. Now the reason they do that is just in case you get like a copyright hit on your background music. You know, like say, I didn't own the rights to the music that I'm playing right now, but I do. They could just mute that entire track, and you could keep your video with you having your talkie bits on that. So could they split that onto 2 separate streams to give you that? What they 100% could, but the overhead for it. So what you need to do is you need to go in and be like, cut down your music and tell the streamer that. So yes, just to make you happier, know that there's no technical reason why they couldn't implement that. Just know that they absolutely never will.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes your day better.
Aww. Poor beastie. It's like it's an awesome idea. It should be the norm. Yes, beastie, I agree.
Well, they have this option on Discord on Windows. When you're doing live streaming, you can have it set to where if somebody's like streaming a game, they could set it to where they have their vocal track on one, and you, as the listener, have an option to adjust them individually, which is a cool feature. And a lot of people would like that feature available on Linux, and Discord's just like, nah.
Yeah.
Is there any technical reason? Discord? No. We just don't, we won't feel like it. Live scrubbing? Just infrastructure. That's the way it was built. Well, you really want these answers.
Yeah,
You want another one? Like, there's nothing stopping them from doing it. They're just not going to do it. And you know what? I agree with that, because for live streams, you're not going to like this depending on what side of the fence you're on, but you can't argue with the results. Not having the ability to go back and scrub through a live stream drives live engagement. Because if you're watching somebody on Twitch, you can't just grab the scrub button and move it back and out. You got to catch it when it comes on. So if that person that you want to watch or that thing is live on Twitch, you got to have button C in order to catch it. It drives engagement. And then you can tell them,
then you can tell them, oh, I didn't see that, and then they'll go back and repeat that, or if they want to.
However, or you just wait for the VOD and it comes out later. But on YouTube, I say this personal experience, it's like, oh, that stream's live. All right. I'm like, maybe I'll go check it out. And maybe in a couple of minutes I do go check it out, and which I guess it's handy to some extent. We're like, oh, we're talking about this thing here. Oh, we just finished talking about this 30 minutes ago. What are you going to do? You're going to go back and you're going to scrub back and you're going to be watching. Then what happens is you start asking disconnected questions in chat because your time shifted. Then the person streaming in the present is like, why are you asking me about stuff I did like 3 hours ago? Because you're watching it from the beginning. You see the problems it causes with a live stream?
Yeah.
And I'm just giving you like from the streamer's perspective. Yeah. On top of like the engagement, you want people to jump in so they don't miss anything.
I do it all the time on YouTube, because I want to see the Disney vloggers there in the park, and I wanted to see a story they talked about previously, but I'm not interacting with them. I just want to go back and watch it, and then I go forward. And that is a nice feature. But Twitch is more about the direct interaction. Twitch's brand is live. Yeah.
And that is one of the things that, like, where do you go to watch live streams? You go to Twitch.
Yeah.
It's got that mind share for that reason. It's got that immediacy of like, I want stuff that you go there to see what's going on right now. And you go to Twitch and you go to YouTube to watch the bots. So yeah, on the technically there's nothing really difficult of like putting that ability in there, but I don't think Twitch would for that reason, because it does drive live engagement knowing that option's not there. You can't even you can pause a Twitch stream, but it doesn't pick back up.
Yeah, it doesn't pick up.
It just jumps back to whatever's current time. So yeah, like I get it. I get why both systems exist, and both of them have their benefits and unbenefits, debenefits, pros and cons. All right. You and Steve doing anything fun this week?
This weekend we're going to take a break, but next weekend is going to be very busy. It's Disneyland and all kinds of things coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
New CPI and CPM-based deals available on G.io. Get ready. I leave so much money on the table just because I'm not going to pepper you guys with ads. I'm not doing that to you. Die Amazon Fashion Herbs Ausfallen vor Greta. News for Dein Herbensein. Oh, it's the fall season in Germany on Amazon. Check the email. As an Amazon.de partner, I finally get stuff that I'm still not going to promote to you, because again, it comes down to it just bugs me, man, when I'm trying to watch a video about something and they're like, but first, let me tell you about, I get why you got to do it. I understand if you got to do it. I'm not poo-pooing on anybody that has to do that. I get it.
I know, we were talking about it yesterday during the after show Trackmania, and I realized sometimes I do watch the Amazon streamers. There's a couple really good ones that I like. Just to have them on in the background. They got good humor or whatever about the products. That's kind of, it's becoming kind of big, you know, to the point now there's actual applications just for live streaming products.
It's
become a thing.
Basically, it's capturing the market that used to be there for the home network channel. Where they were just, you know, that channel where they just sold stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, and get this, call now, and you know, it's filling that niche. People like sit there and it doesn't sit right with me trying to make a product. For me, I'm just saying, like personally, if my goal is to convince somebody to buy something, I wouldn't do that. As long as I have the option not to. But because you're always, it's hard to give a honest opinion when your goal is to convince somebody to buy the product that you're talking about. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to say, well, this is really bad, don't buy it. You're like, well, this is, you know, you just overlook this, but come on, buy it. Come on, because I get a cut. But if you're watching it for entertainment, go for it.
I'm not getting a return video right now. It turned off.
Good.
Video for fellow Jitsi has been turned off to save bandwidth.
Am I saying you?
There we go. Was it the camera? Did it go?
Yeah, I just cut it back on and off.
Oh, okay.
I just jiggle the button. YouTube Marketplace Fridays? Yeah, I've never seen that. Alright, I gotta go make a podcast to everybody. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, whatever you got going on, whatever you're doing, whatever you're planning on, nefarious deeds. I don't know. That's just me talking. Most people don't have nefarious deeds on their schedule every day.
Remember, there's just 2 more days till Friday.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, jiggle the handle on the live stream.
Yeah.
This wasn't the podcast? I got the pre-show up there just to mess with people who are bad at looking at clocks, I guess.
Nice, Beastie. Time to Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. Go do it. Jordan will be back tomorrow, probably with more Baldur's Gate multiplayer. Him and Empty are doing their RPGing digitally these days, because that's what the hip children are into. So tune in. Come check that out. Friday, back for Trackmania, 7:30. If you're playing Trackmania with us, get your butt in there. Go vote on those maps. Go vote on those maps, because I'm gonna shut you down. If anybody starts complaining, like, I don't like this map that I'm like, you should have voted.
You should have voted, yeah. I did while we were playing on Tuesday.
So, getting that in there. And bandwidth. Surviving. We'll be back Saturday for Linux Gamecast, and I can finally do some decent load testing. All right, everybody. Yeah. Have a great rest of your week. If I don't see you until next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Have fun. Steve husband at work. Beastie, have fun playing. It's night for you. For me, it's still early afternoon.